you are on.
Absolutely. You can introduce me. I'm happy with
So
thank you.
should
Thank
I
you for
state
having
your
me.
name?
Carleen Blanchard, that's me.
3, 2, 1, and you are on. Call this
All
the
right.
Premier Guest Story. It's you premiering a big event.
Okay.
So you on the 758-876. For dreamers, I have been dreamers. So I think I'm the biggest dreamer, and I'd like to welcome you to the Dreamer Circle. So
Thank you.
should
Thank
I
you for
state
having
your
me.
name? You're welcome. Should I state your name, or you want to state your name?
No, absolutely. You can introduce me. I'm happy with that.
All right. So I'd like to introduce you to the audience who will be seeing this, well all over the world, because our viewership is very wide. Our subscribership goes far and wide. So I'd like to welcome Miss Carlin. I do not want to use the last name. Let's
No, that's
I put
fine.
the
Carleen Blanchard, that's me.
So as you know, we are ex-classmates from way back. It is nice to meet you on this platform. And just in the occasion of creating this platform, where me, the biggest dreamer, I'm trying to reach many other dreamers from all walks of life, all over the world, in all different areas. I want to go out and seek them out and bring them to this platform. So, welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And that is a very admirable endeavor of yours, wanting to bring all
Yes,
dreamers together. That is very admirable. And I am honored to be one of the first.
you are the first. And for me, it is a first. It is the first stream, the first live show. And I say we, because I do not know who else will be coming on board in this journey. So currently it is myself doing this, and we, like I said, plan to bring so many other people on board and hear their stories and share their stories. Even, part of the prospect of the channel is to engage in other people's story, in their dreams, in their aspiration, in their desire. We could walk alongside them in that journey. And so I want to begin by asking, have you always been a dreamer?
Always. From the time I can remember myself, I've always been a dreamer, because I guess when we're young, the dreams start in your imagination, right? And I've always had a very creative imagination. I'm a good story writer. I may not be a good storyteller, but I'm a good story writer. From the time I was in,
if you have written it, you have told me.
well, I guess so. In yes, the written word, yes. From elementary school or infant school, as we call it here in St. Lucia, I've always had dreams, aspirations, and when you're young, a lot of times your aspirations or the dreams that you talk about are based on what your parents or your guardians seem to expect of you, from what you hear them talk about all the time, as to what they think, I guess, would be a good occupation for you as you grow. So more often than not, if you ask when I was growing up, more often than not, if you ask a child my age, maybe about 7, 8, 9, what do you want to be? It will more than often be what they've heard their parents talk about that they would like their children to be, and not exactly what's in your heart, because at that age all you want to do is to please your parents or your guardians. And as the years went by, I recognized a lot of different things about myself and what I wanted to be and who I wanted to be. And that changed. A lot of that changed as the years went by.
Well, if I should speak on that, I mean, we as parents now, we would kind of understand some part of that, where we would like to channel, what our children choose. And, like you said, your parents, you may have come to that realization that that's not what I want to do. And yes, I mean, that is very true. That is very understandable. And we as parents, we may have not even thought about it and have done the same. You would hear, you ask a child, what do you want to be? Oh, I want to be a policeman. I want to be a teacher, there and then, because as you said, that's what you would more frequently hear the older people. And these were the honorable jobs at the time.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
But I don't want you to spill the beans yet as to what your DDA, as I call it, your dream, desire, inspiration was at the moment. But I just want to step back a little and to say that, or to reintroduce you as currently being in St. Lucia, an island of the Caribbean in the West Indies at the moment. But you do reside somewhere else.
I do, yes.
And that's up to you if you want to divulge where you reside.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I live in Georgia, in the USA right now. That is my current home. But St. Lucia is my motherland. This is where I migrated from to the USA.
And I do have that testimony as well. St. Lucia is my motherland. That is, where I have always had the desire to live. And it is still as strong as I know it. And I'm currently, as we speak, I am in Jamaica. So it's a different experience for me. But since this is your story, maybe we could veer a little into, your own dreams, desires, and aspiration as vivid as you could remember them then, or as you could remember them now. So before you go into details or some of the details, I would also like to ask, were those dreams, desires, or those that you aspired to, something that somebody, like you said, maybe your parents or an event, triggered, oh, this is what I want to do. This is very interesting to me, and this is something that I connect to, that I want to do. If you want to, say if an event, someone, or something sparked that desire or aspiration, and how long ago was that? I know you said in elementary school, this is where your parents are molding, shaping your character.
Correct.
And they try to channel you in a certain direction, but then you have that awakenedness and you say, no, that's not what I feel, that's not what I, or I saw this and that's what I want to do. So if you want to speak on those two areas.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I always had the desire to help people, to help others, to be there for others, to uplift others. I always had that desire. One of the things in our culture that is very prominent is we tend to make fun of a lot of things, and it's not that anybody means bad towards anybody, but it's just part of the culture. And it's one of the things that I always I always felt bad for sometimes people who were made fun of. Sometimes I was the person being made fun of. And I always had this desire to be able to help people, to be able to help others see sometimes, in as much as we're making fun, sometimes the hurt they may be causing to others. But because again of the culture that we were brought up in, that we live in, we tend to like just blow it off and say, hey, it's okay, even though it's not okay. But going from that, I ended up going into nursing. And as a nurse, it became, I didn't realize it at the time, but nursing truly became my real calling, my true calling, in that it really brought out the person that I was meant to be. And it really helped me to understand others better and to really be an advocate for others who needed it. People who were down and out, people who were sick, people who needed help, who needed encouragement, who needed guidance. I was able to be that for them. So just like as a parent, we wear many hats, as a nurse, we also wear many hats. Nurses wear many, many, many hats. And nursing is truly a calling. And you have to be dedicated and committed to that calling. Because sometimes there are things that you are called to do that you probably never thought you would have to do. And it has brought me full circle in life, in that nursing has grown me, it has matured me. I became a student nurse at the age of 18 and graduated from nursing school when I was 21 years old. And I grew up in nursing basically. And
Yeah.
it has taught me so much, so much. And nursing is what enabled me to migrate to the United States, which was another one of my dreams, to leave St. Lucia and to go elsewhere to grow and to do better. Because I had gotten to a point where I felt stagnant in my career at home in St. Lucia. I didn't have the opportunity to grow so much. And I wanted that so much. I wanted, because I felt I could do more, I could give more, I could help more. And that was one of the reasons I migrated. When the opportunity came, I grabbed it with both hands.
So do you remember, the moment, that nursing grabbed you, the aha moment, like, yeah, I really do connect with nursing. Although you said you started at 18, right? You entered nursing school
Yes,
at
correct.
18.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
was it at 14 or at 15 or even at 17 that
No,
the
no.
nursing
It,
bug beat you?
to be honest with you, it wasn't even at 18 when I started. I went into nursing at the time because there was another friend of mine who was going into nursing, and I felt in my heart it was something that I would like. And I suppose when I went to the interview, full transparency, the answers I gave were the answers they were looking for. I didn't know, but I responded from the heart, when they asked questions. And I started nursing at South Louis Community College in 1989. September of 1989 was when I started nursing over there. And I graduated in 1992. And I think it was during my second year as a nurse that I really understood how deeply I loved what I was doing and how much I wanted to make a difference, and how difficult it was for me when I could not make that difference because of where I was at in my career. And I felt like sometimes we we didn't always have the support that we needed. But that is not to say that it wasn't there, but sometimes maybe how we needed it as student nurses and growing up into nurses, sometimes it wasn't always there. But I had mentors who helped me, who talked to me through different aspects of nursing, different aspects of what I wanted my career to look like going forward. And for me, I always, at that point, I recognized that nursing was what I wanted to do. It was where I wanted to make a difference in the lives of others. So I
That
would
means
say I was about maybe 19, going on 20 at the time when I recognized that.
so 19 and aha.
Yes, you could say that. You could say that. Yes.
I mean, I understand that because let's say, after high school, people are still trying to decide, which direction they want to go or which direction they're going to go. Some may have chosen by default, like we alluded earlier on, that they're going in that direction because they may have a parent or a family member who have gone this way and it's an easy way out. But at times it is not necessarily, where your heart is. And some of us get stuck into those not desirous jobs or areas for a long time before we can realize we need to get out. But it's good. I mean, if you have realized that at a very early age, and it is what has carried through your life, your career, whether it is you have grown in the area through becoming administrative and becoming directive and all those good areas that you can go in where you could impact that area even more, be more influential in decision making and helping others, maybe even solidify their desire and aspiration at an earlier age.
Yep.
But now that you have gone that route, I'm sure, from where you started to where you are now, these are worlds apart, and sometimes if and when you look back, would you do anything differently? Would you make any adjustments? I just had a conversation today with a young upcoming person in my field, in my area, and I said, well, yes, I would have done the same thing with some adjustments along the way. So for you, when you look so far back, do you see any areas that, okay, I would have done this differently, I would have done this to be a little more proficient, or I would have done this a little earlier?
Well, for me, to be honest with you, there was a time when I felt that the hours I worked was so hard, they were so constricting that I couldn't live the life I wanted to live. And for a few months there, I considered leaving nursing. That was whilst I was still in St. Lucia before I migrated. For a few months, I did consider leaving nursing. But as the years have gone by, I have recognized that all of that was part of my growing up. And it helped to strengthen me, it helped to grow me, and it helped to discipline me as well. And it made me more resilient. And I am very happy that I did not give up at that time. I'm very happy that I didn't. I think it was what we sometimes refer to as the testing grounds. I think that's what it was at that time. Do something differently. Maybe what I would have done differently is maybe go back to school sooner. because I'm at a point now where I don't want to go back to school. You know, for many years, life got in the way. Basically, call it that. Life got in the way, and I just was not able to achieve what I wanted academically during a certain period. But I think I have gained a lot of headway otherwise, and I am not in any way regretting that I didn't. But if I had to do something differently, that is one of the things I probably would have done.
So, I mean, I have two questions to that. Well, one question and a statement. So the question is, during those hard times, what really kept you going? You know, what was the fuel? What was your North Star? What did you keep focusing on that would keep that drive?
Very candidly and in full transparency, my fear of failure. I didn't want to be a failure. I didn't want in my heart to feel like I failed. And I also didn't want outwardly for anybody to regard me as a failure as well, you know? So that is part of what kept me pushing through. And also too, at that time, I already had 2 of my children. And one of the things, from the moment you have a child, one of the things that you always, well, for me, as a mom, as a parent, that I endeavored to do was to be an example. I always wanted to be my children's hero. Always. I wanted to be an example, a good role model for my children. So that was one of the things as well that pushed me, kept me going.
So I think many people may be able to connect with, you know, that having that responsibility and you know, it's the case of flight or fright, you know. This is something that I cannot, I mean, the fear of failure. You would do anything to not fail, you know. You would glue your hand to the rope so that you don't fall down. Just
That's right.
In that case, I mean, myself, I can relate to that as well, you know, where, you know, I have done things, I wouldn't say desperately, but just that I don't fail. I would put my all into it. But that, I mean, like I said, many people probably have that same relationship or that same connection to why they continue going, why they focusing on, you know, what's ahead. And I mean, I have to do quote unquote, you know, life is one big road with a lot of signs, you know, and so you read the signs, you feel the emotions, you feel the fear, you understand that there is something bigger than me. There is something more at the end of that journey, you know, at the end of that road. And so, yeah, I mean, you also mentioned part of that keep on going, you know, that somebody would say grinding it, you know, the little engine that could, you know, just one more day, just one more hour.
In nursing we call it stick to itiveness. That's what we call it in nursing. Stick to itiveness. And that is actually a word. Believe it or not, that is actually a word.
It's not the longest word in the dictionary.
Well, it's not, but it's a word.
And I'm sure the audience, you know, those who will be listening in and dialing in to, you know, view this would understand, you know, this. And I'm hoping that, you know, in the comment section, that some people might be able to connect with this, you know, place a comment in there. Have you felt that way? Have you experienced some of those things that have been expressed here? You know, is it a case where you are in the same culture, where parents tend to want to guide you into a certain career path, a certain area of occupation, because grandpa did it, because grandma did it, because we did it. So you should not listening to the voice of their children at whatever age it is. That we have children that we may try to influence in one way or another. And I
Correct.
think it is very important that you telling your story, that others can, have that, maybe even younger parents, maybe even people who are considering parenthood, might now hear this message and say, well, let me listen to what my child is saying. Let me see
Correct.
what their desires are, what they are interested in. You might buy them cars, but they might be interested in pots and pans.
Correct. Correct.
When walking through the store with them, their attention might be drawn to something else that you want them to focus on. So that is, I think that is very important in terms of helping people, parents, to be guided too. Maybe they are younger, people, teenagers, who might be viewing this as well, and they might be experiencing this as a child now, not the parents now guiding, but as a child being pressured to join the forces. A child who is being encouraged to do this, and maybe your story might just captivate them and say, well, I have my own dreams, my own desire, my own thing I want to aspire to, how I am feeling, what I am interested in. So I really appreciate you bringing this out, in a way that does not scare people to know that they can also have their own dreams, desires, and aspirations. I know you mentioned candidly and transparency and those kind of things. It's not a coming out party. but it is good, because I need to tell my own story, and hopefully on this platform I'll be able to tell my own story, those things that I really had strong dreams and desire, like those things that kept me awake at night as a kid. But that is another story for another time.
Well, I cannot say that mine was strong as keeping me awake. I like my sleep. But yes, I think there are certain times in life when certain things, like you said, as an adult, maybe certain things have kept me awake, but not as a kid. I don't know. And sometimes you think, like you said, certain things happen, and you realize certain dreams just seem to be crumbling, and you go through certain period in your life maybe where you didn't think that certain dreams that you had would come to pass, only to keep going. Like, sometimes you go through, there was a point there where I was going through day by day, just putting one foot in front of the other. And
Yep.
after a while, I realized that I truly want to keep doing this, and there's still hope. I can do it. I can do it. One of my biggest dreams is to be in a position to help others truly. And when I say help, not just as a nurse, but otherwise, in whatever capacity that our people need help, that I can be of assistance, whether it be financially, emotionally, providing other needs. It is something that I am very open to assisting with whenever I can. And it's something that I pray about and I pray for constantly, to be able to be in a position to truly give back to those who have helped me along the way, as well as those who are struggling on their journeys. Whether it be this story that I'm telling that gives somebody courage to keep going, that gives somebody hope to say, hey, if she can do it, I can do it too. Because the truth is, one of the things as a little girl, my mother always told me, anything that anybody else can do, if you put your mind to it, you can do it as well.
I hope she has not stopped telling you that.
She has not. She has not. And the truth is, she lived by that mantra. She lived by that mantra. She really did.
And it is so true, because I mean, my force is as strong as your force. My desire is as strong as your desire. And so are my aspirations. So of course I can. But I also want to put in a little plug here. Since you have, stated that goal to help others, to, bring out the best in others in whichever way you can. I want to put in a small plug here, that I have a foundation. We have a foundation that we are engaged with. It's the Palm Foundation.
Okay.
So that's the logo. So viewers out there, Palm Foundation will be coming out with some very interesting programs this year. It has been in operation for a while. We are currently registering as a non-profit organization to do bigger things, and it is based on those same things. It is part of leaving a legacy of the patron, which is Petrona Alexander, who was my mom. So it's a foundation in her memory, and it is based on exactly those things that you are saying, to help others, to reach out, seek them out, and get, them help where they need. But I want to lay this big question on you there, that during the course of your early days as a nurse to now, I mean, you could take any segment of it, any section of that period, that lengthy period, or however you want to see it, whatever perspective you have on it. But did you, at the time, at 19, you decided, well, this is what I want to do? Did you, during that time, lay goals or put in place goals? I want to achieve this, and I want to achieve that, or I want to do this, I want to experience that. Did you put down goals? And if you did you achieve them? Did you reach them? And I'm sure if you did, and you are still chasing some of these.
To be quite honest with you, I didn't. At that time, I knew of goals, but at that time, I think I was, in as much as I knew this is what I wanted to keep doing, I think I was just allowing life to happen to me at that time. Because I remember in my early years, maybe I was into nursing about maybe 5-6 years, and my dad asked me, he said, what is it you want? The very question you're asking me, what is it you want to see yourself become? To become a leader, to become, at the time, we had matrons in nursing. He said, would you like to be a matron one day? And my answer at the time was no. And I could tell he was very disappointed, and he was like, then why are you doing it for? Because again, to them, it's like, you need to grow. But at the time, and to be quite honest, I cannot even think why I was not in that growth mindset at that time. And I think part of it is not that I wasn't in the growth mindset. I think it was that sometimes, I think the leadership that I saw, it was not what I wanted to be. And I guess I probably thought or felt at the time that when you became a leader, maybe that's how you had to be. Thankfully, as the years went by, I recognized that no, I can be my own person. I can be the kind of leader that I choose to be. And and I'm very thankful that I've gotten to that point in my life that I am now a leader, and I chose to be the kind of leader that I wanted to have had in my early years of nursing. And I think one of the things that has really helped me along the way, not just myself, but all the different relationships that I have formed, the networking, is my life mantra is to treat others the way I would like to be treated. Do unto others as you want them done unto you. That is my life mantra and always will be.
And you touched on a very, very important point or area, leadership. And that is so important, in guiding, even like you say, leading yourself. Now, the leaders could have blown it for you. If you had really taken to these are the leaders, even if that's how I feel, I'm still not going there. And whatever force that kept you going to then again become that leader that will change things, and I have a quote. I think there might be similar quotes, but I say, if you want change, it will come. Change always happens. But if you need change, you need to go out and make that change or be that change yourself. And I think there's a John F. Kennedy has something about be that change you want to be or something like that. But
so actually that quote is from Mohandas Gandhi.
Okay, yes.
We must be the change we want to see in the world. And as a matter of fact, it's funny that you brought that up. That is another one of mine. And almost all of my email signatures, this is written below it. We must be the change we wish to see in the world.
Okay. And that is so important because I feel that for myself. I would tell the story of having this ambition that's the size of half the world, but that's another story. That's a huge story. But yes, like you mentioned, it is so important that we have leaders that would drive or that would help propagate those good desires and aspirations.
Absolutely.
And if we don't have those leaders, if we have those leaders that are discouraging you coming into the door to be the new leader that will make those changes for the better, then the whole place or the whole world is gonna ride. And I must say thank you for your service, because it is a selfless service that I think nurses provide, which is so important. I do have in my family many nurses. Even my daughter just recently graduated, and she has her better half who is also a nurse.
Wow, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah, and
you will be well taken care of then.
Yes, and that gives me comfort, and I should say that my daughter becoming a nurse, we thought she would become a doctor, and she had all the attributes and all the qualifications, but she switched on us and became a nurse for this very same reason that you have testified to be that caregiver, to be that person that spends more time with the patient, and to be that different leader, the different type of nurse. And I must say again, a plug for them, because our fiance, he has won the nursing title, whatever it is, I forgot the name. The Daisy Award.
Daisy Award, okay. That is awesome.
Won it twice.
That is awesome.
So yes, and I have many nurses. I have my sister who's nurse, my nieces and such. So I do understand, the selfless nature of being a nurse, and we cannot say enough about that. But like I said, those goals that you had set, or you may have set along the way, achieving them or still chasing some of them, it is very important, because I think that is what would keep us going, keep us still chasing after those great desires and aspirations, and goals.
Very
Setting
true.
goals and chasing
Very
them.
true. Yes. And
Um,
yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say that even within that itself and in life, there are also other goals that you have apart from my career, right? I had the dream of becoming a writer. There was a time I had the dream of becoming an
Go for
actor.
it.
you know, right now, because one of the other dreams I have had is to travel the world. That's one of the things I've always wanted to do, is to travel, travel, travel. And right now, what I do on the side is I'm a travel advisor. So I am starting to realize that dream as well, and I'm so excited about it. And I've come to recognize that in life there are no limits. There are no limits. Whatever you endeavor to do, you dream, you set goals, and you plan it out and you execute it, and you can do it. You can do it.
So no limit is pretty much based on what your mom had always advised you.
Exactly.
You can be
Exactly.
anything that
Yep.
you want to be. Don't let
Yep.
anybody tell you anything different.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
I mean, for me, I see this in myself advising my daughter, maybe not telling her she could be anything she wants to be, but I would tell her, you need to acquire, whatever it is that you need, the tools that you need, academically or otherwise, because once you have that, nobody could take it from you,
Correct.
and you could do whatever you want with that. So it goes pretty
True.
much based on those no limits, do whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah.
I must put another plug in here for myself, another quote of mine, which I would tell my daughter that if it's a garbage collector you want to be the best garbage collector you can be. And I could tell you that she was a keynote speaker one time, and she also used that as part of her speech. So I felt
Wow.
honored.
Wow. 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 Yes. Yes.
But
that means that truly tells you that she's been listening.
Yes, it has been. It's crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes we think they don't, but she's been listening.
Yes, and she will tell me sometimes she hears my voice in her head. That's good. I like that, but yeah, the limitlessness has to remain, has to exist, and we have to, the things that we have come to realize now, as parents, we also have to, advise it to our children, and the people that we are close to help them, express, and hopefully this session, this stream, this information, like I said earlier on, would help parents as well as younger people to realize that yes, I can do whatever I desire. I can go in the direction that I feel. Of course, at a tender age, we have to guide and mold their character. But in the end, we have to let them be the person that they would like to be going in. So, as we mentioned earlier on, this would be the first episode of hopefully many. And based on the time, I want to really thank you for being the premier guest on here, sharing such good information, sharing such good advice, being so candid, being so transparent, to what this platform is. It is to help people to realize, to chase, and to hopefully encourage others or towards their desires, their dreams, and aspirations. So I really like to take this time to thank you on this first episode, and of course, there will be some other time that we'll be sharing, sharing your stories or extending on your story because you have lived it. So you are the best person to share it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And I agree. I really hope we can do this again. And maybe one day I will have the honor of interviewing you and hearing your story.
I do hope, I wish for this. There's so much that I need and can share on the subject of dreams, desires, and aspirations, because like I said, I am such a vivid dreamer. I am such, a woken dreamer. I almost feel like when I'm dreaming, like literally dreaming, I'm awake, living it. But I do have strong desires and aspirations. And it goes to where I did mention that my ambition was as big as half of the globe. So I do hope sometime that someone will help me bring it out and share it. There's so many chapters.
Absolutely. Yes. And I really do hope that others will feel encouraged to come out and share their story. I'm sure there are others with a lot more interesting stories than mine, journeys that have probably gone in so many different places, that they can come out and share and encourage others as well.
And we do look forward to people sharing in the comment section, any part of this episode or any part of this stream that they can connect with, or that they feel that they have a connection to, they can relate to come and leave your comments, and let's share a dialogue about this and about your own personal journey, your personal life. So with this, I want to say thank you very much and see you in the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I will keep following the channel for more.
Thank you.